Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, as you'll see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual. You know, maybe that's more like a reflection on what my mental state is, I suppose. Mental state's a bit of a harsh word. I mean, like, my mood, I suppose, when I actually start recording these videos. Like, am I here to relax? Am I here to get hype? You lot are going to be blown away when I'm like, we're here to mess stuff up, you know, today and on Fawnhollow. We're here to ruin it all. It's all burning down. I don't know where I'm going with this, but, you know, I suppose that would be a breaking point. But it's hard to reach a breaking point, I suppose, in Animal Crossing. It's just sort of, you know, is. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow at 6:04 PM on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. Absolutely just hit myself in the face with my glasses, which I will say is not really conducive to good eyesight. Yeah, I don't really know what to talk about today, to be honest. Having a bit of a stretch. One side, the other side, you know, obvious things to do in Animal Crossing. I'm just gonna go to the well of conversations, which is basically just open up my holiday photo album again and see what do we got. I must say, you know, I talked a little bit about it yesterday about animator versus animation Minecraft series. I don't know, Adam Becker Minecraft series, whatever it is. Like that episode 29, the I can't remember what it's called, like note block universe or something like that, is so good. I got the tune of a merchant stuck in my head where he goes like it really makes me want to put lyrics to it, but yeah again, I think at that point I'd rather write my own song and put lyrics to my own song, which I still say I'm going to do at some point, you know, after I've finished doing all these other things I said I'm going to do. I need to, like, be able to clone myself, you know. I need to, well, what's that Naruto thing where we go like, and then, you know, with the fingers, and then suddenly there's like multiple of yourself. I feel like a lot of people would run into, sort of like, you know, existential quandaries, right, when you see yourself. You know, I think a lot of people would be like, whoa, another me, like, who's a real me? What are we going to do? And all that sort of thing. I feel like I'm actually pretty comfortable with the existence of who I am, you know, because I feel like if I cloned myself, and I knew it was a clone myself, I guess, to be fair, if I didn't know it was a clone myself, I'd be mildly freaked out by the fact that I was someone who's so identical to me. But, I mean, once we effectively realised we were saying we're a clone, I'm just like, hey, you know, it's kind of like the definition of me has turned from, you know, a singular person to a multi-person entity, really. Which I'm not really sure if I'm conveying this properly. It's sort of just like, I feel internally with me, if I just, like, woke up, no, if I, like, step through a machine and there's two of me and it was a clone, I'm not going to get, well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Let's be real. You know, let's not overestimate my own abilities. But I feel like the general thing which happens from that is people get existential quandaries. Who is a real me? Who is a main me? Who's a better me? Etc., etc. Well, I feel like I have quite a cooperative sort of mindset with my own clone. I'd be like, yes, there's two of us now. We can get twice the things done. This is fantastic. And I feel like the easy pitfall to fall into is one of you gets to deal with fun things, one of you gets to deal with boring things. But no, I think we got to split that, you know, for two ways, you know. We sort of like alternate days, who does the boring thing, who does the less not boring thing. Actually, now I think about it, I'm not sure how it's going to work because I have medication and there's two of me. You know what would be really best is if I had at will the ability to, like, split myself, you know, Skullduggery Pleasant style, split myself in two or whatever, and then I can, like, reform with myself or whatever, to be able to, like, absorb all the memories, I suppose, as one another. I feel like I would treat my reflection as my equal. I mean, if they are me, they can be nothing but my equal, right? I think we found a conversation topic. But I guess it's mild Skullduggery Pleasant. Spoilers, if you haven't read it at this point. I think it occurs in the first book, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Basically, Skullduggery Pleasant is like, it's sort of like this young adult teen fiction book where this girl, Valkyrie or something? Oh no, her actual name is Stephanie, but you can't use your actual names in the magic world. You got to have a fake name, which, you know, I guess is based off Fey lore and that sort of thing, where you got to give fake names to people. She basically gets thrusted into this world of magic, and she's, like, real good at magic and stuff, you know, typical young adult sort of novel things. And anyway, they actually, at least fairly enough, try to be like, hey, we need to explain why, you know, people aren't suspicious of her doing things, like when she just, like, doesn't turn up to school or something. So Skullduggery Pleasant has this magic where he's like, okay, you know what we'll do is we'll take your reflection out of a mirror and she can go to school instead of you. Rover's photo. Don't you normally give us Rover's suitcase? Or maybe it alternates years. I don't remember. This would be a 4th year, so I guess that makes sense. So yeah, so she basically, her reflection goes to school and she does all her magic adventure business, and then like when she comes home, she like reforms with the reflection and absorbs all of its memories. I think there's like a subplot under there where like the mega spoilers, I suppose, for Skullduggery Pleasant, where the reflection goes like evil or something, or gets like a mind of its own. It's like overusing it ends up giving it too much of like sentience or something like that. Oh, I remember as well. There's one point where Skullduggery and this girl, like Valkyrie, is her name Valkyrie or Valerie or something like that? I'm gonna call her Valkyrie, even if her name isn't Valkyrie. Skullduggery needs to kill Valkyrie to be able to I don't know, it's like exchange information or something, and then they go through with a sacrifice, but it turns out, whoa, spoilers, they actually brought Valkyrie's, I don't think her name's Valkyrie, the more I say it, the more wrong it sounds. They brought her reflection out from like a puddle or whatever, and killed the reflection, and put reflection back in the mirror, and that sort of like permanently messes up the reflection or something, and I can't remember, something like that. Anyway, you know, I guess like, the long and short is that I'm pretty open to the idea of like this sort of splitting your soul sort of business, you know? Like, what is my evidence, you know? That magic from Skullduggery Pleasant, I'd be like, that'd be awesome. Thanks for listening. You're welcome, Phoebe. I did not listen to any of it. I'm sorry to say. That sounds awesome. You've, not a Patronus. What's for his Dark Materials? Demons, or Daemons, as I always read it when I was younger. The concept of that, I was like, awesome. You know, I would absolutely go to the underworld, split my demon with myself, so then we can both have our own free will. You know? Homestuck. What do I think the coolest aspect is? Probably heart. I don't actually know if that's true, because, you know, Homestuck nerd here, you can't actually classify them based on just the aspect alone, because it's all about the interactions between the class and aspect, or something which practically defines your personality. Not personality, the powers and the roles they have in the game or something. Anyway, there's this one character, I suppose, kind of big spoilers for Homestuck, but it was also like a decade old now. It was character Dirk or whatever, who has like multiple like bodies and souls or whatever, which he can split himself between and like simultaneously act as one mind between. And I'm like, that's awesome. I would love that as a power. I don't know if it's good or bad, or what it says about me, about like my superpower. Well, actually, unsurprisingly, number 1 superpower, shapeshifting, because shapeshifting is very fun. Horror. Okay, I don't know why I said horror necessarily, but sure. I forgot where I was going with this. Where was I going with this? Split your soul 7 parts of a whole. Horcruxes. That's a parody video by like Paint, some YouTuber from a decade ago as well, I think. What was I saying? About splitting your soul, something about Homestuck, that character does it. Oh yeah, and number 1 superpower would obviously be shapeshifting, because I say it, shapeshifting is OP. You get so many other powers along with it. Even if you shapeshift into someone with superpowers and you don't get their superpowers, that's fine, because you can shapeshift into like a bird and you get flight. You can shapeshift into a fish, you can swim underwater, and you're like, oh no, I might get eaten. Okay, shapeshift into like a shark or something, aren't they? Shapeshift into an apex predator, which no one wants to mess with. But apart from shapeshifting, I feel like cloning yourself, being able to have like multiple instances of yourself, is a very, very good superpower as well. It's sort of like, shapeshifting is sort of like the magical fantasy superpower I would want, but if I want like one which I can actually be brought into reality, you know, in the tiers of fantasy, like high fantasy, shapeshifting, mid fantasy, I would say cloning yourself, because it's something you could plausibly hide in real life. You clone yourself, you go do, you know, something while one of you like stays at home or something, and it's like not that crazy, whatever, and you just hope no one knocks on your door, you just pretend you're not home or whatever. And then low level power, a superpower would definitely be like omnilingualness or something like that. that one I think is very easy to hide. Just be like, oh, I'm a polyglot, or I spent all this time studying languages or something. I just pick them up immediately for whatever reason. You know, they'll just be like, oh, you know, she's just built different somehow, or her brain's wired different. But yeah, cloning yourself is I don't know where I'm going with this. It'd just be really nice just to have. Unsurprisingly, I feel like what it basically boils down to is more time, but it doesn't feel like I'm cheating the system as much, because actual time powers themselves, you know, in my personal opinion, time itself is very dangerous to mess with. You know, it's a good thing that I suppose as human beings we can't currently really mess with time. The closest we can really get to, I suppose, is time dilation, which is more like changing people's, not perceptions of time, like changing the speed at which people experience time, but it's not like we can time travel. in like a fantastical sense, jumping back or jumping forward in time, we can only sort of stretch it and squish it, I guess, a little bit, which is, you can kind of argue as time travel, but it feels like it's more within the bounded rules. Time travel itself certainly begets a lot of problems if you're not careful, so it's not something that I'm particularly fond of. It's not like I couldn't handle that responsibility. It's like I wouldn't want to have such a target on my back, I guess maybe it's a little bit of paranoia that, like, if I get superpowers, I'm like, immediately I'm not, my mind doesn't go to, I'm special, I'm the only one with superpowers. I'm like, who else got superpowers? This is dangerous. is immediately what my mind goes to. So cloning is sort of just like, it lets me experience more of a world and do more of the things I want, which is why I feel like it's quite benign. It's not actually benign, it's actually quite strong a power, I think. And it's mostly just sort of like with mental wrestling, I suppose, when you would have to deal with for it to actually be a problem, Basically, I want my own simulacrums, to put it in D&D terms. Although simulacrums has a different sort of hierarchy. You're very much like, the person who actually casts the initial spell itself is very much like the alpha. I'm not sure, let's not use alpha and omega terminology, but like the main version of you, while the others definitely are offshoots. Cloning, in my mind, makes it like there's not just one main, there's now two mains. The duplicates of each other, as indistinguishable. Somewhere like Soma. Spoilers, I suppose. I haven't even played Soma. I just know like the general sort of like plot twist of Soma at the end, and I'm just like, that's such a cool like sci-fi topic to explore, in my opinion. Yeah. So basically, I want to clone myself, and I want to do more things. I'll clone myself. One of me is, one of us will be like the moneymaker, and the others will also be a moneymaker. We'll all be moneymakers, and we'll just make a lot of money. No. Well, for one, if I could clone myself like 4 times, that'd be great. Like, I need to rent something else. I'll just, rent out a place with myself 4 times. We can work 4 different jobs or something. And you might be like, okay, maybe, working 4 different jobs doesn't sound like the most enticing thing, but it's more like one person can work a stable job and the others can take more like risky endeavors to see if they can like strike rich or not. It's sort of like having a safety and being able to gamble a bit, but I guess you're doing it with time. That doesn't sound like a very now I say that doesn't sound very appealing. Basically, there's just more things I want to do, in life. There was only finite time. I guess finite time, finite energy, finite money. There's always finite things to do. Not that I really have infinite things I want to do, but I just need a greater capacity. And just one other me, I think, would do it particularly well. Like the morning, like split myself in the morning. One of me goes to work, the other me like does other things, like records these videos, like puts some time into my own hobbies. Next day it switches around. Yeah, I guess the weirdest thing would be if I start developing like me into different personalities. But then it would be like at the end of the night, whoop, like coalesce back into one version of me again. And then I spend the night recharging, I suppose, and being able to like assimilate all the memories I had together. So it's basically, I guess what I'm asking for is I'm kind of asking to live age half as slowly, right? That's kind of effectively the same thing. I don't know, I feel like reframing it this way just feels a lot less like cool. When I'm like, because I guess with a double me, it's a lot easier for me to sort of persuade myself, because I'm like, now, I have still the same amount of time. I know what I can get done in this time. I can just do, run things in parallel. But running things in series, like what aging half as slowly does, I don't know. It just feels like, it's not like it's less efficient necessarily. It just feels less satisfying, I suppose, gratifying. And I also suppose that, I don't know, I don't think there's any way I can argue it. Because if I just duplicate myself and do two days worth of things in one day, if I age half as slowly, I would just have 2 days in a row where I could do it. I mean, in some cases, it might be better for things where I need to actually wait a day for things to happen for it. I mean, all things said and done, if I was given like the ability to be like, hey, here's your superpower, it's you age half as slowly, so you basically have double lifespan, I'd be like, oh, not bad at all. That's a pretty nice mundane superpower, I would say. And I don't mean mundane by boring, I mean mundane by like low. That's a pretty nice low fantasy superpower, I suppose. Anyway, I haven't really drilled into the meat and potatoes, I think, that this conversation always brings up, is the cloning aspect of being like vying for power, right? Like, I don't know if it's true or not, because it's obviously something that we can never come to pass. But I feel like if it was, if I got cloned. I just have like an intuitive feeling inside me where I'm just like, I would be totally okay with that, you know? I think it's because I pre-prepared myself to be like, if I find like an identical clone to myself, if I create an identical clone, I'm not saying this is actually going to happen, but if like one were to suddenly like pop itself into existence, I'd be like, yeah, okay, we both have a mutual understanding of each other that neither of us are inherently better than the other one. We're equals, and thus we will treat each other as equals. And because they're an identical clone of me, I know they think the same way, right? all of those balances and the scales get tipped, I suppose, if it's not an identical clone. So it's probably, you know, a little bit difficult to actually have an identical clone, because especially with the way that like environment affects you. Like imagine I don't know, I just, you know, go somewhere one day and I just like see something horrible or whatever, and it like scars me. Why is this what I'm going with? I don't know. If I see something, let's do the inverse of this. If I go out somewhere and I'm just like, something amazing happens to me and it just brings me so much joy and fundamentally changes my life, I suppose that's going to make me quite different from a clone. It very much is sort of like the birth and growth of two different people at that point, right? The only way I think a clone can continuously be another you all the time is one, if you can like recoalesce yourself and like rebranch out again, you know, basically push and pull your commits of a person of you, main branch you, or you have to experience exactly the same life, which in which case I feel like it's a bit redundant for the whole cloning aspect, or one of the biggest benefits of being able to do multiple things of it. That's just my thoughts about it, you know. Anyway, clone me, clone you. My identical clone. Anyway, I haven't found my clone yet. I don't think they exist, so be it. Anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.